Frankie was just an absolutely amazing character. His mother died when he was 3, and he lived in Rentham for many years. I think he didn't get out till he was probably in his 40s. And then he was out there in the community, and he was able to get a job. You know, he had help through different agencies, and he worked at several restaurants as a dishwasher. Everybody knew him, and and he did a really good job, made a lot of friends. I mean, he had these eyes and this face and this smile that was kind of intriguing. And he always started out with, "Hi, my name is Frankie. What's yours?" His friendliness towards people was just incredible. You know, and he was cautious. He had good street sense. I mean, he wouldn't approach somebody that seemed suspicious. He knew a kind face, and he'd go after it. And so he had eyes for that. He'd say these little things to me, and I'd stop and think, "Oh my God," out of the mouth of Frankie. "You gotta live life, Pauline," he'd say. And I said, "Frankie, you're absolutely right." And sometimes when you're feeling like a little down, and you think, "Oh my God, Frankie, he's out there living life." Life wasn't easy, but he kept it simple. It wasn't complicated with a lot of emotional dynamics. Every day was a good day, and he was living life. He had a wonderful quality of life. He loved his independence. He was able to take care of everything that he needed, and if he couldn't, he knew who to ask. So he was resourceful. In the community, it's just unbelievable. I always wanted to do a documentary and have Frankie and I just kind of travel the neighborhood, because there was just so many wonderful things that he did in the neighborhood, and he interacted, with the neighborhood and what they did for him. We would do a little trip over to CVS. He knew them all at CVS. They were wonderful about filling his prescriptions, telling him about his meds, they all watched out for him. Barry's Deli, he was over there every morning, by 9 o'clock, first cup of coffee. They all knew him at Barry's Deli. He had beautiful gray hair. It grew really quickly. So he would go to this hairdresser, and he's been going to her for years, every 3 weeks, for a $2 haircut. How many places do you go for a $2 haircut? And he'd give her a $1 tip. The locksmith down the street, Frankie would go in there with his electric razor, and he'd clean it out for him. Boil it up a little bit. I mean, and I'm sure there's just so many other things. There's a hearing aid company in Quincy, Ken Karras and Son, and he'd end up at the hearing aid place once or twice a week. They'd clean it out, they'd change this tube, fix that, for nothing, and off he'd go. In the community, it's just unbelievable. I always wanted to do a documentary and have Frankie and I just kind of travel the neighborhood, because there was just so many wonderful things that he did in the neighborhood, and he interacted with the neighborhood and what they did for him. He knew the bus schedule everywhere. His sight was limited too, yeah. Mm-hmm. He wasn't legally blind, but he had definitely visual impairment, speech impairment, hearing impairment, and gait disturbance. So I mean, that's a lot of things,
I mean, really, his smile, his wave, the way that he would, ask you about personal things. I mean, your family and stuff. The fact that, the kids would get birthday cards from him.
Tapped the giver in all of us, I think. He was so easy, and he appreciated everything. He was easy to give to. The simplest of things, he thanked you. Kept it simple. It kept it real, And so, I mean, that was a joy.
This is Sue Scheibel, staff reporter for the Patriot Ledger and Gatehouse Media New England. For more coverage, see the Good Age column in today's newspaper or go to patriotledger.com.